Hey, hey, hey. Told y'all I was going live. Oh, my cup of ice. Pray y'all doing amazing. Um, I wanted to do a Q&A of confessions with clarity. Actually, I think I'm going to take my hat off. Nice. Okay, let's rock with it. Yeah, it's not that cold. So, I pray y'all doing amazing. Happy Thursday. Blessed Thursday. Prosperous Thursday. New month. Well, it's not new month, but I'm trying to wait for some people to come in because I wanted to like chat with y'all. I wanted to do a live Q&A to see if y'all got any questions because a lot of people are navigating connections and are confused. Truth about it. So I want to talk to y'all about it a little bit. I did have some people on my coaching company. I was navigating through my coaching method, my signature coaching method called the aligned method. And a lot of people were asking questions about relationships. So if you haven't already, follow my coaching company, Moments of Growth Essentials, on Facebook. It's a Facebook group where I do weekly coaching, group coaching every Wednesday, diving into navigating through life pivotal moments while remaining grounded in who you were created to be. And so if you're wanting to dive into that, it's every Wednesday, group coaching every Wednesday, Facebook group. But I had um one particular follower ask me, is it bad if you're not aligned with your spiritual, if you're not aligned with your partner spiritually, like if you guys don't align in your values, morals, and beliefs? Hey, what's up? I had and so I wanted to talk about that a little bit because I know a lot of people that's in relationships and they're not really aligned with their partner in values, morals, and beliefs. So, oh, come on in, guys. I'm doing a live question and answer about connections, confessions with clarity. So, if any of you guys got any questions on relationships or any, not just intimate relationships, but like friendships, and you need some clarity on it, I am here to dive in with y'all. Being a life and wellness coach, your connections is kind of, your spiritual foundation is the base of how you navigate life and inner wellness. But then, the walls, when you're building, it's the relationships, the connections, the people you surround yourself with. So, here to help you. But a lot of people, what is that? Eclipse 6 moon. What does that mean? What's MKL? Jackson's sister. What is that? But a lot of people do have, they're in relationships, intimate, personally, and they don't align with their partner with values, morals, and beliefs. And so they're wondering, it, their relationships consist of a lot of chaos, a lot of conflict, a lot of confusion. And that's because you guys are on two different spiritual journeys. And a lot of times you don't have to be at the same part of the journey, but you have to at least be on the same path, right? You can be ahead of your partner spiritually, but as long as your partner is still on the same path, like it becomes chaotic when you're going left and your partner is going right spiritually, if that makes sense. That is something I personally experienced, and that's when literally my relationship started to crumble because my significant other was in believing demonic entities, right? And was not operated in light. Yeah, and it'd be like that. What is that? Boo M8 M9. It'd be like that. a lot of times you take more time to navigate inward and try to figure out who you are, who you're created to be, while your significant other is more focused on progression outwardly, like moving forward, worldly wise, fleshly wise, like trying to progress in business and not really focusing on their inner emotions, their inner mental health, their inner spiritual well being. They're more focused on, advancing professionally, and but that does not mean you guys don't align with morals, values, and beliefs, right? It just means that you guys are on, hey, 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 Hypernova Steve, hey, what's up? It doesn't mean that you guys are like have different values, is your focus is just different, right? A lot of times when your focus is different, you find that you do have some disconnect, but that doesn't mean that you cannot still grow together. And the thing about it is, right? We're talking about relationships, connections, and it's levels to it, right? Dating one, hey, 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 what's up? His will be done too. How you doing? Thank y'all for coming in. Dating is one level, understand, and then you get intimate and become, start putting a label on it, like boyfriend, girlfriend type situation. It was so funny. My daughter asked me, she's 18, and so she asked me about like dating and is there really a difference between dating and marriage? Hey, 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 thank y'all for coming in. And I was like, yeah, marriage, you can't just dip. You can't just dip. You really have to um work on it, right? You're not really obligated to work on it if you're boyfriend and girlfriend, right? That's a choice, right? It's not an obligation, it's a choice, right? But when you're married, you're obligated because of the vows. Hey, hey, what's up? Because of the vows, because of the commitment that you made, because of the promise, you know, legally and spiritually that you made, right? You can't just dip just because they got a nasty attitude to that. You kind of got to just take a moment and figure it out. And I think that comes down to when you are navigating connections. I told my daughter, it's like when you decide to get into a relationship with somebody, you really have to ask yourself, what am I really willing to tolerate? And I had that conversation with my brother about this. Like what everybody's willing to tolerate is different, right? I have known a lot of people personally, like within my family, but also friends in the past that was willing to tolerate their significant other cheating. Like they was willing to tolerate that. They was willing to understand that that happens. That's part of, nature. I had somebody tell me that. I said, that is not natural. That is not natural. That is literally an uncontrolled feeling. That's not something that's natural, right? But there are people who do, look at that and be like, that's just part of being with somebody is they tolerate cheating. I ain't tolerating that. Yeah, do a backflip. I can't, the way my body's set up, I can't backflip nothing. Um, some people they're willing to tolerate emotional abuse. Okay. It's all about what you're willing to tolerate to be with somebody where you're not compromising yourself. And I think that's the part that is always left out. We tolerate so much, whether you're a woman or you're a man. Being in a relationship, we tolerate a lot, but then we also lose ourselves in the process of tolerating in order to say, like, we put forth work in order to say that we're working towards whatever the relationship is. Like, you have to be honest with yourself. And a lot of times you need to ask yourself these questions during into like the dating phase. Like you shouldn't be questioning and be like, what I'm willing to tolerate after you done said I do. Like it's kind of too late at that point. It's like now you have to be like, okay, what am I willing to work towards? Okay. I did have me personally, I did have some um breaking points and stuff like that when it came to my relationship. But I also, when I became married, I had to move out of forgiveness through my breaking points. right? But then when I saw a repeated action, it was no longer necessary for me to compromise. Okay. It's like when it comes to connections, it's not just loving somebody. eh, Food you can eat daily. I mean, you can add, you can eat what you feel you want to eat. Whatever, I'm definitely a pro advocate for do what works for you. So if you want to eat junk food, I mean, do it. If that's what makes you happy, if you want to eat clean and lean, do it. Whatever works for you in that moment, do what works for you, but just also understand you have to be aligned and in tune with your body to know what to intake. Okay. I don't know. That had nothing to do with connections, confessions, but again, this is question and answer. So if y'all got questions, I'm gonna answer them. Um, but like when it comes to you compromising or being in relationships and connections and you are wanting to understand and you want to be in forgiveness and you want to move in forgiveness and you want to, be conscious and making sure that you're doing your part, it's okay to have those open, honest questions. That's one of the things that I didn't compromise on. Like, if we're going to talk, if we're going to work it out, you got to be honest and transparent. Like, we can't build on lies, right? But you'll be surprised how many people think that lying through situations will save a relationship. A lot of people have this mindset, a lot of people have this mentality, and I never understood it because how can you build on something that's not that's falsified, right? But everybody is different. Everybody's mindset is different. That's why dating and boyfriend and girlfriend phase, like at that level, you really have to like ask some real questions. Like it's not just, oh, I love you, you love me, right? You really got to ask some hard questions. Like, what are your expectations? What are your boundaries? What are your desires? What are your requirements? Not just for your significant other, but for oneself to be in a relationship. Because who you are independently is not who you are in a relationship. Okay, you move different, you act different, you think different when you are now connected with somebody and doing this thing called life together with somebody. Like you're no longer moving on your own, you're moving with somebody and you are connected with somebody. So you can't just, you gotta ask the person, hey, Aisha, sorry, you gotta ask. And so when you ask these questions, it gives you an opportunity to filter. I know I'm trying to talk with ice in my mouth. But if you're not willing to filter, okay, then you're going to have a lot of chaos and confusion in your relationship, for sure. And don't be in a rush to commit to somebody. Figure them out first. I know we go through moments where we're lonely. We go through moments where we want to be with somebody. Don't rush. You can have friends. You don't have to rush into a commitment with somebody because at the end of the day, 80% of the time you're still trying to figure yourself out. So, rushing into being a commitment with somebody when you're still trying to figure yourself out is a recipe for chaos because what you like today may not be what you like 3 months from now. And I'm a strong believer in don't waste nobody's time. And if we have this mindset and this mentality that we just take time to get to know people, like being friends a little bit more, but also you can engage in a conversation of more going past them friends, right? And then also something that is not really talked about, you don't have to get intimate off it. Like at that moment, if you are wanting to get intimate immediately after meeting somebody, then it's like more you got to do some self evaluation of oneself and do some self reflection and actually be aware of where you're currently at personally. Once you intertwine intimately, it causes more confusion, more drama. And then it's more than you're just connected to somebody mentally and emotionally. Now you're connected spiritually when you start to do. And then you're exchanging spirits at that point. And again, you're exchanging spirit with somebody you barely even know. It's very important to build before you decide to level up on the bond. But everybody's in a rush these days. Everybody's in a rush. And I get it because, people are lonely. But people are also impatient. Ooh, that's the sad part. I don't know how long this live is going to be. Um, we're going to figure it out. But I did want y'all to ask, put in the chat, how many of you guys get along with your significant other family? There's one thing, me personally, I didn't really realize. You do marry the family as well. You don't just marry the person, you marry the family. Again, so it's very helpful and it opens up a higher perspective if you actually look at the whole aspect of the person, not just what you see in front of you, but who they are internally, background, how they were raised, family. Okay, like all of that matters. Cause baby, if I would have knew what I know now, what I know then, just saying, if I would have known now, what I know now, if I knew back then, things would have been different. Big time, man, things would have been different. And I'm not surprised if a lot of y'all say that too. If I would have known what I know now that I didn't met back then, I would have never did mess with old boy or old girl. I wouldn't even waste my time. But the thing about that is you gain experience, you gain understanding, you gain wisdom. And I wouldn't trade that for the world. Granted, a lot of the things I went through could have been avoided, but gain wisdom in the process. Because let me tell you, my expectations for in laws wasn't even met at all. Like it was non existent actually. I had a whole vision and desire for how I wanted my in laws to embrace me, but me embrace them. And chat disappointment is an understatement. It was like I told him on several occasions, "You lucky I love you." Several occasions I said, "You lucky I love you," and then it got to a point love wasn't enough. So it's like find out who you're marrying into too. His family, because his family is a reflection of that person. And A lot of times, and it's not even just the guys, it's the girls too. Pay attention to, like with the women, socks with sandals, socks with sandals. Okay, if that's what you want to do. It's a little bit uncomfortable for me, but do what you want. Mm-mm. Again, what works for you? Socks with sandals. But with women too, reflect on their relationship with their mother and their relationship with their father, and you will have a better understanding of who she is. Same with men, their relationship with their mother and their relationship with their father. When you have a clear understanding of who he is, and a lot of times you won't need to ask them nothing. Look at their parents, and they'll tell you more than you need to know. Everybody can grow, right? Everybody can change, everybody can grow, but their parents is definitely the foundation of who they are. Now, they may get to a space mentally, emotionally, spiritually that they want to evolve, they want to heal, they want to grow that foundation, they want to do reconstruction of that foundation, right? And if they're willing to do that, you got to keep her. I mean, I can't tell you when you feel like you're ready to commit to somebody. That's something that you would have to know. But when you are ready to commit to somebody, you won't be confused. I can tell you that. You wouldn't be confused. You'll know that this is the person you want to be with. But whoever you decide to commit to, don't lose yourself in the process. That's why people don't quite understand that being with somebody is a full time job because you have to work double shift. And you have to work on being a supportive spouse or supportive significant other, supportive person within the connection, but you also have to nurture, honor, respect, love oneself. It's a lot of work. Every bond requires balance. No matter what bond it is, every bond requires balance. Intimate, friends, family, you can't be one sided. And when I mean one sided is you can't be so focused on you that you're not paying attention to the other person. And you can't be so focused on the other person that you neglect yourself. It has to be a balance. It has to be dual purpose. And that's why it'd be so hard. That's why it'd be hard for people to stay in committed relationships because it's like you're working double shift. You got to work the morning shift and you got to work the night shift. Whatever you pick and choose to, cater to, first, and what you desire to cater to last, that's up to you. But it is a dual shift. You got to work double shifts when you're in a relationship. A lot of times when you're single, right, you only got to work one shift, and that is to cater to oneself, to heal oneself, to understand oneself, to learn oneself, to grow oneself. But when you're in a relationship, you have to do double shift, and a lot of people don't quite understand that. And it took me a long time to understand that because I was definitely only working one shift, but it was a shift for just catering to my significant other at the time. I lost myself in my relationship for sure. In all of my relationships, not just my marriage at the time, but friendships. I always lost myself in everything because I was suffering from abandonment issues. And that's something that a lot of you guys are not wanting to keep it a buck with yourself. How you show up in your relationship stems from what you have not healed as well. So if you are losing yourself in relationships, again, whether it's intimate, whether it's family, whether it's friends, if you're noticing that you're not really doing anything to oneself, chances are you're suffering from abandonment issues because you don't want to lose the people that you currently have around. So you feel as if you pour so much into them, they ain't gonna go nowhere. That's a lie. I'm a little, that is a lie. People want to go where they want to go. People will do what they want to do. It doesn't matter what you do for them. It doesn't matter. Like, you know that saying, people make time for what they make time for? That goes for individuals as well. If people, if they want to dip and dabble, they will dip and dabble. It don't matter what you do for them. Okay, and it's a hard truth. It don't matter. You could put your all, your soul, your mind, your body, is everything that you have. You can let them drain you to a prune. And if they want to go, they going to go. You're thinking to yourself, I done everything. Why? It doesn't matter. They're going to want to go if they want to go. That's why you have to do double shift. So, you first shift, if you want to cater to your significant other, if you want to cater to your family member, if you want to cater to your friends, make sure you're there for them. Do that. But make sure you clock in for that second shift so you can refill your cup. Okay. Make sure that you spend time with Heavenly Father on that second shift so He can definitely refill you. Make sure you're taking time to nurture you, to love on you, care for you, heal you. Okay. Go through some of the unspoken wounds for oneself on that second shift. Because if you're finding yourself only clocking in for the first shift to cater to other people, you're in for a hard, hard awakening. Okay. And it's going to be sometimes it's a hard fall as well. You got to do double shift when you're in a relationship. And it's something that is not really talked about a lot, right? But I just encourage, whether you're in a relationship, connections, friendship, it don't matter what you're currently going through, whatever relationship connection you're currently dealing with, just be observant before you speak. Before you try to address anything, just be observant, right? A lot of us are in tuned, a lot of us are connected, a lot of us are spiritually aligned, a lot of us are really taking the time to dabble into our discernment. Just pay attention before you just jumpstart, because chances are there's a lot of stuff that's not being talked about, and you can't just kind of, leap front into an argument. Ask questions before you try to, you know, jump in that type of boat. You can't avoid arguments, Sarah. It's Arguments is just what it is. It comes with it because you are two different individuals still trying to understand each other, and we all go through seasons, we all go through changes, we all go through different times in our life, and so you're going to always have some inner conflict when you're shifting, when you're changing. But it's the matter of how you are able to handle the conflict, handle the arguments, handle the chaos will determine the progression, right? When arguments and stuff like that, it's very hard to do this, but it will shine a higher perspective if you do, is if you kind of would leave your emotions out of it until you are by yourself. because then you'll be able to actually hear what the root cause of the argument is actually about if you remove the emotion. And this goes for your other person too, right? When the emotions are present, you don't hear anything. You don't hear anything, you don't see anything. The objective is just for you to say what you need to say, get it off your chest, let them know how you feel. And it is what it is. You don't care how they feel, but you just want them to know how you feel because your emotions are tied to it. But when you release the emotion aspect and it's just about let's try to figure out why we're not in agreement, why we're not aligned right now. I'm gonna take my emotions out of it and just figure out what's really the tea. Like what's really why we really at this at odds with each other. You actually get to the root and the cause. A lot of times it may be petty, a lot of times it actually may run deep. And you thought it was just something, you know what I mean? So when you remove emotions, you have a better and higher chance of resolution. But you can't avoid arguments because you're literally two different people. Even though if y'all have so many similarities, y'all are destined to bump heads. Because again, we go through different seasons, we grow, we change, we evolve, mindset, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and a lot of times we're not on the same wavelength. We're not on the same growth path. We're not on the same journey in our healing and our growing, our evolving. And so, don't knock heads and some again, what you're willing to work for. I don't know why I look like it's like my hair is straight, y'all. But you know, what you're willing to do, what you're willing to go for. All right, y'all. I ain't want this to be super long. I didn't. Well, I wanted to chat with y'all a little bit. Thank y'all, my top fans, for tuning in. How many top fans I had come in. I love y'all. Thank y'all. Listen, because I didn't, with live, it's so unpredictable. I don't know who's on time now, who will. Hmm. How did I handle conflict with in-laws? Not well. Not well. I got at that time in my life, I wasn't healed. So they saw the broken version of me, which was the rah rah. I ain't had it well at all. I was willing to go toe to toe with anybody. Mom, dad, sister, brother, they don't care. Anybody can get it. But it was also a matter of I was also dealing with broken people too. So, and the story, hurt people, and we both was on that type of time. So it was very challenging, and it weighed heavy on my marriage too. Very, very heavy because the unfortunate aspect of it, it wasn't us versus them, it was me versus everybody. And so it was very challenging, and it did not, it was horrible. Did not, it didn't go out well in a lot of cases. I mean, it was a hard realization that I had to accept because chances are, and this is not for everybody, but for me personally, I had to come to a hard truth that even though we're married to each other, and they're always going to side with the family that they came from at the end of the day. So, blood, it's like that saying blood is thicker than water. That was literally my situation. Whether how blood may have treated, each other, that didn't matter. Blood will always be thicker than water. And that's relevant within their family as well. So, no, I didn't handle it well at all. Yeah. And if I would sit, if I had time to do over and go back. Um, Truthfully, probably would still handle it the same way. I probably would have. Yeah, and that's me in the Hill version now. I don't see myself ignoring so much of the disrespect, even though Hill, like I would have been that one to still address it, right? Um, but I would say the thing that I would change, I would have exited way sooner, right? I wouldn't have tolerated it for so long. And I think that would be the only thing I would change. That was a good question. Thank you. Thank you, Stacy. 6'2". I like that question. Because again, everybody's in-law situation is different. And again, it's back to what I said in the beginning of the live. You gotta ask yourself, what am I willing to tolerate? What am I willing to deal with? What am I willing to handle? Okay. At that moment, the love was stronger than the disrespect that I received. So it was just like, I kind of dealt with a lot. But as it healed me today, absolutely not. I would have two fingers like a player. I wasn't dealing with that foolishness. It was a lot of foolishness for a lot of years. I'm not gonna deal with that, and I wouldn't put my kids in that type of environment either. They're older now, so they're able to discern and decipher very heavy, right? They have their own relationship with certain in-laws, right? But baby, two fingers like a player. If I would have, was if I was healed dealing with disrespect from in-laws, I would two fingers like very quickly. But I pray this provided y'all some clarity, some insights. I want to do this at least like once a month because I do know a lot of people do have questions about connections that they don't really feel comfortable asking intimate people, but this is a space where you can definitely ask questions and um, get some clarity and actually confess, right? Release, let go in a safe environment. It's important, right? No judgment here. We all gone through stuff. We all been through stuff. We all endured with different people. That part. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Also, Next Level Wellness Club, my health and wellness company, Black Friday special is still running. It is 50% off of everything. You can visit nextlevelwellness.club for more information. Go to Essential Elements, which is a shop, hoodies, hats, mugs, journal, everything. 50% off for Black Friday. And if you are wanting to join our Inner Wellness Circle, membership is available. So you can check that again at Member Circle on nextlevelwellness.club for more information. But I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Be a blessing, y'all, and to others, but know that you're blessed too. Bye.